This is about communicating your impact, communicating your contribution. And again, I'm going to say it again. It's about explaining to your donor fits. That's a word I just made up. Donor fits. How you help them realize their sense of best self. The good news is it's a pretty simple process, and as I've alluded to, the hard news is it's not an overnight process. It takes time, it takes focus, it takes trial, and it takes error. But here's how I want to pitch it to you. How much time have you wasted doing it off the cuff? A lot. How much time do you think you can save if you focus on getting it right? That focus is a valuable, valuable tool. And trial and error, folks, that's just table stakes. We just need to start there. It's how we learn. We need to make mistakes in order to learn. So I love this quote by Albert Einstein. If you can't explain something simply, you don't understand it well enough. And so that's really what we're talking about today, is let's go through some simple, I call them combing exercises. Just combing through the morass of data, talking points that you've got to simplify it down into a very, very simple statement of promise. This is how I help. So there are some exercises that simplify this. And there are three fundamental, simple questions that we need to ask and answer in order to understand our impact, to understand our contribution to our best fit donor, to understand our ways that we help them realize their best self. And the first one is, why do you exist? Without a clear understanding of why you are here and how the world will be different when you are successful, everything else becomes a slippery, sliding slope. I've talked about the importance of audience, and I cannot overemphasize the importance of understanding as much as we possibly can about who you serve. And then finally, how do you help them? And again, it's how do you help them realize their best sense of self. At the end of the day, they don't need to know the details of how you do it and what you do. What they want to know is, are you helping them make the world better in a way that they want to see the world better too? And it's confusing when you're talking about nonprofits, because you really do have multiple audiences. So we're risking being overly simplistic, but for today we're talking about the donor and their needs. When I write a check to a nonprofit, it's meeting a need I have. And it's not one of guilt, it's not one of should, it's one of I want to contribute to this work.
I'm assuming that we all have a range of roles at organizations, in the organizations, people, those of us who are here.
Yeah.
So when you ask those questions, where are the answers coming from, and how do you address it where there might be differences of opinion, say between the board and the executive director, or the development director and the board, or whatever? Was that future down the road with conversation?
Now what you're really talking about is organizational alignment. And my own experience, by the way, is that brand definition is a phenomenally powerful time to get the whole organization in alignment. But if you do have misalignment, that's a whole problem that we probably can't touch today. I'm going to assume, for the purposes of this workshop, that you do have at least fundamental alignment internally. Or you can use these exercises to find that alignment, to be clear about what, because by the way, this also drives strategic thinking. This also drives strategic planning. You know, if you are really clear on why you exist and who you serve and how you help them, that too is the roadmap to a very, very clear strategic thinking exercise. And so when I sell this work, I very often say, Branding is not just for marketing anymore. And one of the primary benefits is, I use the metaphor of a choir. You get everyone singing from the same songbook, and suddenly you start to sound like a choir, and you stop sounding like cacophonous voices, most of whom are just saying, no, listen to me, no, listen to me. Who cares what you've got to say? What matters is what this person cares about, the audience.